Hey guys, it's Lizzie. So I have this epic background. I'm in my best friend's apartment. She just moved and she painted the whole thing all by herself, decorated it all by herself. So this is half of the kitchen. It's probably going to be my new filming area while I'm visiting her, although the video I just filmed was outside. So where I am right now, my best friend lives here, but also my sister. So I got to see my sister for the first time in like a year this weekend, which was really, really fun. We just like walked around a lot because basically my sister we didn't want to expose ourselves to each other. The virus is what I mean. We didn't want to like give it to each other. So we stayed a bit away from each other and kept our masks on the entire time. So we're both taking it really seriously. I've only exposed. I feel like when I say exposed, people think I mean like taking off my clothes. I'm talking about like exposing people to the virus only to like Trevor, Monica, my friend, and so I just have really not been hanging out with anyone. So she's doing the same thing. She's like only seen her one roommate. So yeah, we hung out socially distanced, and we're gonna see each other next weekend too and go kayaking together. So I'm so excited. And my sister decided she's not coming home for Christmas with our parents. So I'm basically shopping for all her Christmas presents now to give to her so I don't have to mail anything. So I've been doing some Christmas shopping as well to find stuff for her. So it's been really, really nice. And do you guys like it? This is your sister's house? No, this is my best friend's house. My sister, we are not exposing ourselves to each other at all. So I only have been seeing my sister outside with our masks on. So she did not invite me over to her house. So I'm only at my best friend's house. And I have a furry friend before we get into the theology and the questions. Let's see if he wants to be in frame. Hi, Frodo. He's trying to bite me, but he's a really sweet cat. I don't know if sweet is the best word though, because he bites and scratches his owner Monica all the time. And you met Monica. See, he wants to lick the makeup off my face, but his name is Frodo because he has extra toes. I don't know if you guys can, okay, he wants to go, but he has extra little, yeah. Okay, I'll put you down, Frodo. He's probably gonna go back and sleep with his owner now. Anyway, so that's an explanation of where I am and what's been going on. I'm gonna stay here for, I don't even know how long I'll be here for. It just depends on however long I wanna stay and like whether or not we keep getting along or not, which we will, because she's my best friend. So Andrew says, hey, so what kind of Catholic are you? Franciscan, Jesuit? I'm Protestant and looking into it. I asked this over Instagram, but figured I'd ask now since you're live. So that's a bad question to ask a Catholic because it's not really. So like those are orders, like a Catholic order, but most people are not in a Catholic order. So like you can choose to be like Dominican, Franciscan, Jesuit. Usually it's a priest order or like there are monk or nun orders. So it's like religious life. It's not like regular people like me who are just like Catholic. I'm Roman Catholic. And there are also different rites of the church. So there's like the Latin rite, which is the one I'm a part of. And I go to the Novus Ordo Mass, which means the Mass in English. There's also Latin Mass. There's Masses in Spanish, French, German, like every language ever. And so if you're doing it in the language of where you live, that's called Novus Ordo. There are also other rites of the church, like Byzantine, Melkite, that look like an Eastern Orthodox church service, just because of the way the church is decorated and the way the Mass is said. So, yeah. Don't ask Catholic, Dominican, like they're like none of the above. Like I'm not in an order, I'm not a priest, I'm not a monk, I'm not a nun. So yeah. Love Mary said it's Mary's birthday tomorrow. Really? That's when we celebrate her birthday? Oh, well, I'm gonna go to Mass. I've been going to daily Mass since I've been here because in the neighborhood where my best friend's house is, there is a parish that has 10 a.m. Mass that's like 0.7 miles away from where I'm staying. And so I've been going to Mass every single day in the morning, and it's been so amazing. And there's like a ton of old people there because obviously like who doesn't have work at 10 a.m. people who are retired. So I'm like the youngest person there and they've enjoyed seeing me. So I've never gone to daily Mass before. So I had to miss this morning because I had a meeting, but the other days I've been here, I've been going every day, and it's been nice taking a walk and seeing everyone and getting a homily in and praying with other Catholics. It's been really, really amazing. So I've enjoyed it a lot. Caitlin says, I love your hair. Thank you so much. It's premiered in a few videos so far. So I've been loving it a lot. When I got it fixed, I hated, sorry about all the noise. That's Frodo running around. You guys want to see him? I don't know if you guys can see. I know, guys, sorry, my leggings totally don't match my shirt. I just wanted to be cozy for the video. Okay, I'm gonna read the comments. I emailed you a question for a friend of mine. Yes, I saw your email and I knew it would require a really long response. So basically, talk to your priest. That was gonna be my response. So I don't know the answer to that question, and that's what so many people ask me questions, and I'm like, talk to your priest, maybe go to confession and talk to your priest. Hey, Frodo, no. I'm trying to work right now. He loves like bags and stuff because of the sound. And now he's attacking my chair. I hope he doesn't start attacking me. Since he's a kitten, he has like tiny, tiny nails. And my friend literally has scars on her hands and her arms and legs from him. So he just took a nap and now he's, you know, he's like a kitten. Like he's an actual kitten. So he has loads of energy. Melanie says, I want to go kayaking. Yeah, my sister has a kayaking membership and goes all the time. And I've never been in my life. At my undergrad during NSO, they always had this ocean kayaking event and the signups got filled so fast. So I never got to go ocean kayaking. So in my mind, since I was like 18, I'm like, I want to go kayaking. I wonder what that's like. So it's finally becoming realized. Gyro says, can I ask you anything? Yes, you could ask me anything, but you might get blocked by the moderators if it's not a good question. Okay. Olivia says, I'm happy that you're taking this seriously, unlike other YouTubers who just go everywhere. Yeah, it's been really, really weird to me how people on social media who are celebrities or social media influencers are on Instagram stories showing all the people they're hanging out with. Number one, why are you wanting to be a horrible influence to your followers and encourage other people to do that? Number two, don't you find it like embarrassing that other people are going to view you in a negative way because you're not properly socially distancing and taking the virus seriously? So that's what I don't understand. Like, you think there'd be some shame element involved in not taking it seriously and being a health risk to everyone, but also like if you are going to disobey the rules and see like countless friends and family members who you don't live with in your household, why would you want to influence the millions of people, thousands of people who are watching you by admitting that you're doing all of that? Like, why does it need to be on camera? So I don't understand at all people who are doing that. It's so sad because I mean, we're literally called social media influencers. So obviously we're going to impact so many people and influence whether or not people die from the virus. So yeah, obviously I don't do a ton of Instagram stories about my life because my life's pretty boring. I just stay home and work like everyone else. So I guess not everyone's staying home and working, but I work like everyone else is what I'm saying, on editing videos and writing and researching and stuff. So, but if I was hanging out with people, I certainly wouldn't be putting on my Instagram story because that's embarrassing and it's shameful. I mean, I'm not, but I just don't understand that. So yeah, we talked about the cat. Caitlin says, I miss when you had your cat Christmas in the videos. Yeah, whenever I'm home for Christmas, I'll definitely have him in my videos. I am going home for Christmas. I booked my flight. So I am seeing my parents. I can back out of that last minute if I test positive. I am going to get a test. I got tested before I came here, like 2 days before I got here. I got the results back the day before I got here. So I tested negative, and I'm going to get a test before I go to Florida. And then, yeah. From then on, I'm going to get tested before I travel to any other place. So it's pretty easy to get tested. Let's see. Mega Max says, Lizzie, will you do a video series about the apparitions of Mary? Absolutely. So my friend who I'm staying with and I are going to watch the Fatima movie together. We've been planning to do it, but obviously we have work and we are moving and painting and all of these things. So anyways, my video is going up tomorrow night in which I talk about... What is my video that's going up tomorrow called? Oh, Bible verses, apologetics Bible verses that all Catholics should memorize. So, sorry, the Frodo is the name of the cat because he has extra toes. So apologetics Bible verses that every Catholic should have memorized, and it's going to be included with a blog post on my website, lizziesAnswers.com, that will have all the Bible verses that you can literally look at and memorize for debates or discussions, I guess is what they're called. But they're Bible verses that I've personally chosen to memorize for YouTube videos and stuff. And yeah, so the next video after that, my best friend and I are watching the Fatima movie. She's Protestant, so it'll be pretty intense. So that will be the beginning of my Marian Apparition series. Manuel says, I think I might be thinking of discerning, which means going into religious life, so being like a Franciscan or Dominican or whatever, or just a regular priest. I think I might be discerning. I'm 14. What should I be doing and thinking of? So I think you should just focus on growing really, really close to God, increasing your prayer life, maybe try and go on a retreat, take a class somewhere. Obviously, talk to your priest is like the answer to every single question ever. Like, talk to your priest. And then if it's like a mental health question, it's like, talk to your psychiatrist, like share these symptoms. So I'm obviously not a professional at anything. I just like pointing people towards the sources or towards the professional. So definitely talk to a priest and have him mentor you, or like a brother or a nun, a sister. Anyone you know who's in religious life would obviously have the best advice for that. David says, Lizzie, you are a very attractive lady. I haven't been called a lady in a hot second. Do you find it can be awkward being Catholic, as some men can be so crude towards women? So I don't think it's a Catholic thing. I think it's a male thing. It didn't become any different once I became Catholic. But definitely on my Facebook page, it's just like 90% men messaging me like, hey, how are you doing? Want to talk? Like, all over. So I would say Facebook is the worst, where it's just like men who are wanting to talk to a woman, and it's like, oh, you're attractive is like the only reason you're reaching out to me. So I get a lot of that. I would say like on Twitter and Instagram, I don't get that at all. So, and then obviously in comments, some people will say inappropriate things, but basically YouTube bans any comments that are sexual harassment. It has a filter that goes through and blocks them. I used to get threats to harm me and do things to me like all the time since I was 15. And a couple years ago, YouTube decided to create a filter to block all of that. So I don't read any of that anymore. It's amazing. It was horrible getting that stuff when I was like literally a teenager. So all of that is gone now. And it wasn't 2 years ago. It was probably like 6 years ago or something, maybe 5 years ago. Let's see. The Catholic convert mom, please pray for me and my family. My family is sick and my dad too. He has it the worst so far, awaiting test results. So definitely pray to Saint Corona. Ironically, Saint Corona is the saint of infectious diseases. So it's really interesting that, I mean, it makes sense like etymologically that coronavirus, corona saint, it's coming from, I assume, from the same term. So yeah, pray to Saint Corona for coronavirus. How is one saved in Catholicism? That's a really good question. So we do not believe that salvation is one moment. We believe that faith is not an intellectual assent to an idea. So Protestants will say that, I mean, it totally depends on the Protestant. There's like millions of Protestants, thousands of Protestant denominations, people calling themselves non-denominational. So obviously there's so many different perspectives and stuff, but a lot of Protestants think that you are saved, e.g., you are going to heaven in one moment when you're baptized or when you pray a prayer and ask Jesus to be your savior. So they think that at that moment, like you're saved, once saved, always saved, you're going to heaven, nothing you do can change that. Although some Protestants think you could change that. So, hi, Frodo, how are you doing? So as Catholics, we believe that absolutely you can lose your salvation. I think the main way is that baptism does not forgive future sins. In Catholicism and the Orthodox Church, we don't believe it forgives past, present, and future. So you have to go to confession. So if you commit a mortal sin, if you commit a mortal sin after baptism, you can go to hell. And so you're constantly working out your salvation. And this is literally a Bible verse in, I believe, Philippians 2:14. Let's look it up. This is one of the Bible verses in my memorization video that's going up tomorrow. So Philippians, let's see. Nope. See, I don't have this memorized. I don't have my memorizing the Bible verses memorized. I need to get better at this. So I think it's in Philippians 2. Let's see. Okay, Philippians 2:12, not 2:14. Therefore, my beloved, just as you have always obeyed me, not only in my presence, but much more now in my absence, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. So I think this Bible verse is really great because Frodo's eating food, you guys. Obviously, cats are nocturnal, so he's like full of energy right now. So yeah, we constantly are working out our salvation, and God's grace is working through us. And so, oh, we have a super comment. Sorry, I didn't see that. Lizzie rocks. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate you guys' generosity. I can buy like 50 bananas with that. Let's see. Actually, I don't want to calculate right now. Okay. Do you feel Catholics put too much focus on Mary? No, I think that if you think we put too much focus on her, you're not understanding what Mary is. Mary is described as the moon. The moon reflects the sun. And so when you're looking at the moon, you're seeing the brightness of the sun, and then you're turned towards the Son of God by focusing on the moon. And so, for example, in praying the Rosary, the whole point of the Rosary, obviously there's prayer requests, and Mary is the Queen Mother in the Old Testament. In the Davidic monarchy, the mother of the king was the queen. Frodo, what are you doing? He's scratching himself, and it's so annoying. So the mother of the king was the queen in the Old Testament. And so Jesus is king in the line of David. And so his mom, the Queen Mother, just like how Bathsheba would intervene on behalf of the people to the king, it's the same thing in God's Davidic monarchy through Jesus, where Mary is intervening. And so it's not like we're putting too much focus on Mary through the Rosary. The entire point of the Rosary is those prayer requests and meditating on the mysteries of Jesus in the Rosary. And so when you're saying, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, is literally a Bible verse. Blessed art thou amongst women, literally a Bible verse. As you're saying the Hail Marys, you're not thinking about the Hail Marys, you're thinking about the mysteries of the Rosary, about Jesus' life. You're meditating on Jesus the entire time. And so for me, it takes an hour to pray a Rosary. So people might say, you're thinking about Mary for 1 hour, you're praying Hail Marys for 1 hour, but no. It's the moon reflecting the sun. I'm meditating on Jesus for that entire hour. It's not about her. It's about seeing Jesus through her eyes because she's the moon. And so I hope that answers that question. It's not like through our prayers, it's not focusing. She focuses us on Jesus. She clarifies who Jesus is. Taylor Marshall's back. Hi, how are you doing? So obviously everyone knows who Taylor Marshall is. So there's an atheist guy who's my new fan named Taylor Marshall, same name. Hi, Lizzie, my test came back negative. I'm so happy for you. Lizzie, you get to pick to live the rest of your life one way. Never experience hunger again or never have the need to sleep again. Which would you pick? Definitely not needing hunger. I hate eating. I think it's so annoying. Okay, he's gonna break the live stream. He deleted an email when I was doing a Bible study with 2 of my friends, and he ran on my computer and literally deleted an email. I was on Zoom, and then he pressed 2 keys and it deleted an email on my Gmail that was open up there. So yeah, I think eating is really, really annoying. I think it's a huge waste of time. You have to spend money. You have to do dishes, cooking, all of these things. And so sleeping, I think it would be really emotionally exhausting if I never got to sleep. Because think at the end of a really hard day, you've been crying a lot. It feels so good to just go to sleep and forget about it. and you wake up the next morning and you feel better. Or let's say you're like in a relationship and you had a bad fight, and sorry, I was reading comments, I got distracted. Taylor said he's been having a bad day. That's really sad. So like, let's say you're getting in a fight with your significant other or with your roommate, and it's nice to just like go to bed and you wake up the next morning and everything's okay. So I feel like if I never got to sleep, life would just feel like so draining and overwhelming, and it's good having like a fresh start every single morning. So, and I love dreaming too. I have such vivid dreams. So, but I know with bipolar, like in mania, you don't have a need for sleep and it feels kind of cool to be like invincible, but that's so exhausting. Like I wouldn't want that all the time at all. Probably at some point in my bipolar, I would be like, I want to be manic all the time and never sleep and just be manic all the time. But I would not wish that. Okay. Caitlin says, my first day of school as a teacher is tomorrow. Oh, yes, I'll pray for you. That's so freaking cool. Okay. Let's see. What do you think of people who feel led to be baptized? Definitely get baptized. In Catholicism, baptism is a sacrament. It forgives all past sins. It brings you into Christianity. So I made an entire video talking about the 7 meanings of baptism. So I'm going to link that video in the chat if anyone is interested. Seven facts about Catholic baptism. This is the video. Here. I'll put it in the chat. 7 facts about Catholic baptism. It explains everything about the meanings of baptism. It's not just forgiving sins, but it's like becoming part of the Christian community. Hey, Frodo, you can't get inside the trash can. He was trying to climb into the trash can, even though it's under a cabinet. He managed to like open the cabinet up. He's crazy. He has so much energy. Okay. You should only be praying to the Son of God. So the Old English word for pray means to ask. So when we say we pray to the saints, we don't mean we're worshiping them. We're asking them to pray for us. So I tend to not say pray. Instead, I'll say, I'm asking Irenaeus to pray for me, or I'm asking Augustine to pray for me, or I'm asking Mary to pray for me. I'm not worshiping them, I'm asking them to pray for me. And so I think that's a huge misconception, because in our language now, when we say pray, people think worship, when it's really not that at all. Okay. I just texted my friend who's in law school studying for the bar. Excessive devotion to books is wearying to the body in Ecclesiastes 12. And she's like, I love this a lot. So I just said that to her. Okay. All churches are true because they believe in God. So the Catholic Church disagrees with that. I disagree with that. Jesus established one church, which together was the Catholic and Orthodox churches. And other churches, you can read, I made a whole video on this, which I'll link in the chat as well. It's talking about if Protestants will go to heaven, which it's a question mark. We don't know whether or not Protestants will go to heaven. And so when you say that the only thing that's important is to believe in God, that's not true at all. Sorry, guys. The kitten keeps getting in here. It's not okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna link my video in the chat about are Protestants going to hell? So we don't know whether or not. So I will link that here. If Catholicism is true, we don't know. Yeah, so if you want to know that question, in the video, there's a recent council called Vatican II that happened at the end in mid last century, and they said that other Christians are considered separated brothers and sisters, and they are Christian and they are Catholic essentially because they have some of the sacraments. They have baptism, they have marriage. They don't have confession, they don't have confirmation, they don't have the priesthood, holy orders, but they do have baptism. And so in that sense, they are like a fragmented part of Catholicism being Christianity. And so I totally disagree with the idea that all churches are true because they believe in God. I know that was a really roundabout answer, but that's what I was trying to say. Okay. Let's see. Ashley, I already answered this question. I think you should talk to the priest. Okay, Jesus is literally a descendant of David. Yeah, so he's king in the line of David, so that's why Mary is the queen. And also, you guys, so I just made a video, well, my video that's going up tomorrow at 8 p.m. I talk about in the video the steward position. So in the Old Testament monarchy, there was a second in command of the king who wore keys around his shoulders, and he was in charge of the kingdom if the king left. So Jesus says to Peter, I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And so he's saying, I will make you steward of my kingdom and you're in charge if I leave. And so that's why the Pope is the steward of the kingdom of heaven, of Jesus. He's Jesus' steward. So that's the whole thing of the Pope. And so I think that the Old Testament is huge. And I think that if Protestants knew the Old Testament more, it would lead them towards becoming Catholic. Okay. Lizzie. Nick says, Lizzie, have you read from the heresies from St. Irenaeus? You spelled it a bit wrong, but it's okay. So my patron saint, the only thing we have left of him is his book called Against Heresies. And yes, I obviously have not read the whole thing, but I own it. I've read a lot of portions from it. It's helped me a lot to understand early Christian theology. I've quoted from it a lot in my videos. So, and the version I have has him as an icon. So an icon of him, which is really, really cool. Okay. Mira says, I feel so much hatred from my friends because I have a different religion. I think then you found out that they're really like not your true friends, because I think that like people who genuinely love you, they wouldn't hate you or turn your back on you because your views change or your view on religion is different. And so I think it might be a positive thing. And sorry guys, I want to make sure that he's not too hungry. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, I wanted to make sure the cat, Frodo, wasn't eating anything. He's just playing with the toys, so that's good. Okay. Does the King James Bible have prefaces to each book just like the Catholic Bible? So it depends on the Bible that you have. If it's a study Bible, often it'll have a thing before talking about it, but it totally depends on the Bible. Nikki says, how do you invite an atheist to the Catholic Church? So I'm going to read a tweet that I sent out a few days ago that perfectly answers this question. I said in my tweet, the best way to convert non-Catholics, which includes atheists, is being an ethical, passionate, intellectual, and fun person. Live out the faith by being selfless, hardworking, and being there for your friends. Over time, when God has put enough practicing Catholics in your friend's life, they'll make the connections, start asking questions, and wanting to become part of who you are. And like, it can take years and years and years. It could take like 10 years for my friends and my family to become Catholic, but over time, they're seeing your life. They're seeing how Mass changes you, how your relationship with saints has actually changed you. And I think that over time, that will make the biggest difference. Frodo the cat is so excited about the bag. If you just got here, I'm staying with my friend and her cat is having a lot of fun. Okay. Do cats go to heaven? So I'm actually going to make a video. I need to add that to my list, but Monica told me, my best friend, that I should make a video. Do animals go to heaven? So I will definitely be adding that to my video ideas. Do animals go to heaven? Do pets go to heaven? Should be the title of the video. And one of the things that my friend actually said that's a good point is that animals are perfect in the sense that they worship God by doing what he created for them to do. So humans can be evil. We can disobey God, go against him, not be living for who we are supposed to be, not obeying God through our lives. But animals ultimately don't have that choice. And so they're constantly obeying God through their lives. And so it's interesting. She's like, they're perfect for that reason. And it's like, they are, but not because they did anything to be like that. Faye says, thank you for the donation. Hey, Lizzie, do you think Pentecostals and Evangelicals go to heaven? What is your theological opinion on them? So I will link my video again. It's called No Salvation Outside the Church, ? Will non-Catholics be in heaven? And it's the same thing about, I just linked the video in the chat. There's no difference in when we talk about Church of Christ, Lutheran, Pentecostal, Evangelical, there's no difference. It's a question mark for literally everyone. It's not like, oh, Lutherans are more likely than Church of Christ. We don't know. We don't know for anyone. I hope so. We pray for everyone's soul, but we really don't know. It's a question mark for everyone. Do you ever go to Latin masses? Yes. So when I was first becoming Catholic, there was a Latin mass really close to where I was living in Florida. And so I went there every single week for about 4 or 5 months. When I moved back to California, there was one sort of close to where I was staying. So my main mass where I was in RCIA and Bible study and everything. And that mass was in English. It was Novus Ordo, but there's Latin mass kind of a few blocks down the street, a 30-minute walk. And so I would go there for Latin mass maybe once a month, but then it got moved to a whole different place in LA that was really far from where I lived and where I'm now living in LA. So yeah, I don't go anymore just because I don't own a car. It would be an hour and a half if I took public transport. So I'm not about that. Okay. Pedro, thank you for the donation. What are your thoughts on kingdom marriages? So I have no idea what that is. So is that talking about Mormons who believe marriage is in heaven as well? Kingdom marriages? I don't know what that means. Okay. How do you feel about dogs being in your wedding? It was on the news. Some people, it's a package deal. I'm not comfortable with it. I think it's really weird. I obviously, you guys know, I don't like dogs at all. I'm definitely more of a cat person. Okay, he's doing fine. I wanted to make sure he's not breaking anything. So I'm definitely a cat person, but I think it's really distasteful. But if one of my friends was getting married and they had a dog, I wouldn't completely judge them or not be in the wedding or not be at the wedding or anything like that. Okay. Is Jesus literally a king? Yes. Is he literally a descendant of David, thus making him a literal heir to the throne of Israel? Yes. Question, do you love me? Yes, I love all of you so much. Thank you for the donation. Juan says, hey, Lizzie, do you think the Orthodox Christians are more passed on the traditions better than Roman Catholics? No, I think Catholics better passed on the traditions than the Orthodox Church, and we do have some theological disagreements regarding some of the Trinity. Purgatory. They're now allowing birth control in their churches. So there are some differences theologically a little bit between us. And I would say that I definitely think the church magisterium and the papacy and everything is guiding the Catholic Church. And when you split from that, there are going to be some differences. Okay, I'm reading more of the comments. Mega Max says, Lizzie, what is the difference in various forms of Catholicism? So there are no theological differences when it comes to like Latin Mass, Mass in English, Mass in Spanish, or like Byzantine Rite, Melkite Rite. There's various rites within Catholicism. There are no theological differences. The only differences have to do with how the Mass is. So the decorations, the liturgy, the prayers that are said, it's literally just like how it looks and how it is, how the Mass is. And they might focus particularly on different saints, but all the theology is exactly the same. So the different rites of Catholicism were all united under the Pope, which means that like the Vicar of Christ as the Pope is in charge of like protecting the truths of the church. Although now, originally everyone was called the Vicar of Christ, including the bishops, but the Pope especially is the Vicar of Christ. I also wanted to say, guys, thumbs up the video, like the video. Every time that you like and comment on a video, it helps me the absolute most by helping my place in the YouTube algorithm. Rachel says, why is God more wrathful in the Old Testament but merciful through Jesus in the New Testament? So I think you need to reread the Gospels. Jesus talks about hell the absolute most of anyone. It's terrifying the way Jesus talks and in the parables. So I recommend to just read through the Gospel of Matthew. It has a lot of the parables in it. In Matthew 25, the separation of the sheep and goats. There's also the parable about the virgins waiting for the bridegroom, and they fall asleep, and some run out of oil, and the doors to the wedding are closed, and they're not allowed in. It's basically saying if you slack off on your faith on earth and you're not constantly like building on your relationship with God and like at Mass and worshiping God in all of these ways, like if you slack off on your faith, are not going to regular confession, you can literally lose your salvation. And so in the parable of the sheep and the goats, Jesus is saying, you didn't help the poor, you didn't feed the hungry, that was me, you rejected them, you're going to hell. Like, Jesus is not merciful. Obviously he is, like he's willing to forgive everyone, but God in the Old Testament is merciful as well. I'm reading through Isaiah right now, and it's terrifying. Like, God gets so angry at them, but then in like the same breath, he's like, I will take you back. I will forgive you in a moment. So I think that when you read things like one verse at a time, you might see it as too wrathful in the Old Testament or too wrathful in the New Testament or merciful in one of them more. But if you just read it, like block scripture, they're the same. Like, I don't see any differences. In fact, I think Jesus in the New Testament might be more wrathful than God in the Old Testament. It's totally like a stereotype. Like my atheist high school teachers used to say that all the time. And I was like, I would give like actual examples of Jesus being wrathful and the Old Testament being merciful. And so it's a stereotype. It's a total stereotype. If you just read the Bible, you'll see that it's equal in both. Jesus talks about hell so much more. So, hi, Lizzie. I'm a huge fan from Argentina. Next September 15th is the Feast of Our Lady of Sorrows. Our parish plans to broadcast the procession through YouTube with a mobile phone, but we need to have 1,000 subs. Yeah, unfortunately, I think, when is this, September 15th? I think you obviously should like go on social media, on Facebook and Twitter. Like I will personally, sorry you guys, I'm tired. I'm on the East Coast now, so it's like about to be 10 o'clock for me. So I will retweet it. I'll share it on my Facebook page. So contact me on social media. But I think it'll be really, really hard. So I recommend a live stream through another medium besides YouTube. Like you can use Facebook to live stream or Zoom. Zoom is also an option. That would probably be easier. Lau says, girl, are you dieting? You look like you've slimmed down. No, I have not lost weight recently. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you guys want to like look at what my body looks like or something. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I have not lost weight at all. It's just like the various clothes that I wear make my body look different. So definitely could gain weight probably, but I'm not underweight. Do you like communion rails? Yes, I absolutely love communion rails, and I like when... Oh, he's purring. I like when everyone receives the Eucharist together on the communion rails and everyone kneels together. I think it's really, really, really sweet when everyone does that together. Okay. Okay. Daniel says, we had the church and traditions of the apostles before the Bible. Scripture is truly sacred and is the word of God, but not everything that comes from God only comes from the Bible. Taylor says, do you think being atheist contributes to suffering or feeling lost? So I think feeling lost would make sense, like a lack of meaning or something. But I would say that Jesus promises that we will be persecuted and suffer as Christians. And so I think that Christianity might bring you more suffering as a believer in Christ, but you'll learn how to suffer well and how to have joy within the suffering. He's trying to bite me. Absolutely not. Nick says Latin Mass is the only correct version of the Catholic Mass. Wrong. There are many correct versions, and I don't like it when people say things that are inaccurate and could be confusing people who are new Catholics. Obviously, it's not the only valid version. Triton says, do you believe Noah's flood was literal? That's a really interesting question. So I would say that because there are so many other cultures at the time who also had stories of floods, it makes me think that there was actually a flood that physically happened. I don't think it was over the entire world, but I think it may have been over like the ancient world at the time, so over a huge land area. But just the fact that like various wisdom literature at the time, not just in like the Jewish scriptures, talks about that, it makes it seem like it really happened. Did Jesus ever sin as an earthly being? No. Deleting comments that are heretical. Aliat says, hi, Lizzie. Who do you think is a better Catholic, Joe Biden or Melania Trump? So we don't know if either of them are practicing Catholics, if either of them go to Mass. Obviously, like, I don't think either of them regularly go to Mass. Maybe they have a private Mass in their home or something that we don't know about. But yeah, I have no idea if either of them are practicing Catholics, if either of them pray. We have absolutely no way of knowing. In a recent video I watched from a couple months ago, Biden described himself as a practicing Catholic, which surprised me because, I mean, maybe he goes to Mass every week. We really don't know. Someone says Biden has been denied communion at Mass. Yes, that happened one time. It was recorded. It may have happened another time as well. We don't really know. I think the fact that it was recorded kind of makes me think that it might have happened at other times. Johan says, thank you. I love you too. Aw. Lau says, Biden Harris 2020 ? Are you serious? What are your thoughts on him picking Kamala? Are you upset? Is that I don't know. Anyways, but thank you for the donation. Why do y'all bring politics into this? Congress is full of corruption. Stop acting like our votes even matter. Wow. I think voting is really important. I personally think that it's like a civic duty to vote. So I recommend everyone getting registered to vote. I'm registered to vote. You can vote by mail. You can vote in person. So I think it's important to participate in the civic process. I know a lot of people who are choosing to not vote for president because you think both people are awful. I personally know people who think like that. So that's fine. But you also should be voting for senators, House, for local politicians, like who's in charge of making sure you have clean water. If you live by the beach, who's deciding if the parking is free or not? Like really basic parts of your life, there are people in charge of that. And I just find that it's really, really important to vote. For local politicians, for state politicians, it's not just about the president. People act like it's only about the president, and it's really not. Taylor says, how about receiving both the body and blood the same as everyone like Orthodox? There isn't this in Catholicism. Why is the two elements not present in the Catholic Eucharist? So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but one time I was like the last person to receive from the chalice, and there was a piece of okay, so I know people are going to get offended when I call it bread after it's consecrated, but both the wine and the bread become the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ. And so when I say blood, they're both blood and they're both the body. So I hope people don't get offended when I use these terms. But what is appearing as bread was mixed into what is appearing as wine. I guess that's how I can say it in a way that doesn't, everyone knows what I'm talking about without offending people or being theologically inaccurate. So what was appearing as bread was in the wine, and I asked my priest about it, and I actually didn't know this, but every time at Mass, I notice it now because I was told, like, when I was in RCIA, but the priest takes a tiny slip of the bread and puts it in the wine. And so part of it is mixed together. But every person who's receiving it doesn't mix it together. But obviously the Orthodox Church does, so we can do it either way. Have you ever attended Eastern Rite Divine Liturgy? Yes, I've attended Byzantine Mass before. David says, needing to go to sleep. Peace be with you, Lizzie. Peace be with you too. Have you read Scott Hahn? Yes, I have read Scott Hahn. I've read Rome Sweet Home, The Lamb's Supper, and Angels and Saints. What have you guys read? Was watching my Orthodox night prayers on YouTube. Oh, when I saw you on here, first YouTube live I've ever done. Wow. Alexander says, do you want us to delete heretical comments too? Yes, please. Yeah, if someone is an atheist or a Protestant and they're disagreeing, I'm talking about if someone is Catholic and they're saying like every single mass is invalid except for Latin mass, like that's heretical. That needs to go. But if someone's just disagreeing as a Protestant or an atheist, then that's fine. Harrison says, "Hi, Lizzie, where are you?" Yeah, so I'm visiting. I announced this at the beginning, but I know that like people come and go all throughout the live. So I'm visiting my best friend on the East Coast. Her name is Monica. If you watched the last live stream, she was in the entire live stream. We're going to make another video together. We're going to watch the Fatima movie, and she had the great idea that we're going to set up a camera the entire time and film us watching it throughout. So I think I'm going to have like one camera on the movie screen and then another on us. So I'll probably use my phone as the second camera. I don't have two cameras. And then I'll edit through the entire footage and I'll put like both clips next to each other and find our reaction points and everything. So I think it'll be really, really fun to film. David Kelly, thank you for the donation. Rachel says, "Lizzie, how do I get to know God? I'm always a sinner and think that he is mad at me." So I recommend just reading scripture, just all the way through the Bible. Why don't you start in the Gospel of Luke and then Acts? I also recommend reading Ephesians. I think that's a really good like pick-me-up book. So maybe start in Ephesians. Read Ephesians, then read Luke, then read Acts. And then from there, maybe find like Psalms. Read the Psalms after that. So read Ephesians, Luke, Acts, and then the Psalms. And I think that'll help you a lot. Rev says, "Did Jesus have a mother in heaven before anything was created?" No. O'Rule says Mary never died. Yes, Mary, no, we don't know. Okay, this needs to be removed. So we don't know whether or not Mary died as Catholics. So the assumption of Mary is when her body and soul was assumed into heaven. So like Mary has a body, so does Elijah, so does Jesus, so does Enoch. Everyone else is just like a soul in heaven without a body, and we're waiting for the final resurrection when everyone will get a body together. But with the assumption of Mary, the Dormition is the end of her life when either she didn't die and was just taken into heaven, or she died peacefully, one of the two. And so we can believe either thing if we're Catholic. We can believe that she died peacefully or that she was just taken into heaven at the end of her life. But the important part is that it was a peaceful death. So I personally believe she never died, but you can believe either one if you're Catholic. There is some theological diversity for us. Thank you for the donation, Juan. Pope Francis said, "The unborn and the poor are equally sacred." Absolutely. He feels Trump encourages abortions and anti-refugee. Life is more than the fetus. Absolutely. Ernie says, "Do you think gay people were born gay like me?" I think it depends on the situation. I think that's actually, I don't know. I don't know. Science doesn't know right now. I personally think that it's a genetic thing and people are born gay, but I think it could also have to do with upbringing as well. I mean, it's either or, right? It's either like you're born with it, or it's something having to do with how you're raised, or it's both together. Most things are both together. So like bipolar disorder, for example, is a genetic thing, but it's also caused by like life experiences. Like some people, their bipolar won't come out until they're like in their 40s. Like their whole life, they won't have the symptoms at all. Or some people might have like one bipolar gene and not other ones. And so they don't have it fully come out all the way. Whereas like for me, my bipolar started coming out when I was like in high school. And so like I have really, really strong bipolar genes. And so I think someone who is gay, yeah, I personally think it's genetic. But obviously like we don't know 100% yet. The Catholic Convert Mom, thank you for the donation. Thank you for all you do. You're really sweet. I'll be praying for you for sure. David Kelly says, "Lizzie, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for the donation. I hope you and your loved ones are safe and well. Love the kitty. Good night. Peace be with everyone." Oh, I love the cat too so much. Juan says, thank you for the donation. You guys are all donating all at once. Aw, I have a big and long question, but I'm not sure how to send it to you. YouTube comments only give me 200 questions. Email me. My email is lizziesanswers@gmail.com. Okay. Okay, I'm reading through the comments. What theory of atonement do you hold? Triton says. This is a great question. So this is another example, just like how I said with Mary's Dormition, you can believe that she died or that she was just taken up into heaven. So as Catholics, we can also believe in different atonement theories. So I personally don't like penal substitutionary atonement theory. Instead, I love the ransom theory of atonement. That's my absolute favorite, and the early Christians believed it. Ashley said, I didn't know that was intentional. I thought the priest just put the crumbs from breaking into the wine to make sure every last bit is consumed. That's so interesting that you didn't know, even though you've been Catholic for so long. Yeah. So I learned that because I asked, because I was like, I think I might have been the day I was a Eucharistic minister, or it was like a daily mass or something, and I was the last person in line. So. Do you watch Church Militant? No, I don't like the way he goes about things. I don't think it's nice. Yeah, I don't think it's kind or nice. No. Alexander says, someone told me that certain prayers have been added to the liturgy so you receive the sacrament of reconciliation without visiting a confessional. Is this true? So you don't have to go to a physical confessional to do confession. You can do it like in a room. That's happened before, like at retreats and stuff, but we're never going to have confession done virtually. Ernie says, I haven't voted since 2012 and probably won't be voting this year. You don't have to vote for president. Is he sleeping? Aww. Do you guys want to see this? It's so sweet. Isn't that so sweet? He's sleeping right there. Aww. Jeff says he also adds a little water to the wine. Yeah, I guess people might not know that. It represents the water that gushed out with the blood that Jesus was poked with the spear. Yep. Jeremiah said, do you think angels can marry? No, one of the main reasons is that angels don't have a gender. So within Catholicism, marriage is between a man and a woman. And so if angels don't have genders, then they're never born, they were created. So part of marriage is procreation, and they clearly can't procreate. So just like the whole definition of marriage and the purpose of marriage just like doesn't exist for angels. Trishan says, what do you think of the Fatima notion that many souls go to hell because there's no one to pray for them? To me, it bothers me. I think you might be taking it out of context. I mean, I haven't seen the Fatima movie yet, so maybe you're not. But it's important to know that Marian apparitions are not church dogma. You don't even have to believe that Marian apparitions are legit to be Catholic. You can reject the Marian apparitions if you want. It's optional. And so I don't think we should be taking any like dogma out of a Marian apparition. I'm not saying it's fake. We just shouldn't be taking dogmas out of it. Heather says you have to limit showing movie parts due to copyright. Yeah, absolutely. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to screen record it. I'm going to have, like, let's say where you guys are is the movie. I'm going to have it like from an angle. And so I think that it won't get copyrighted. If it does, that's fine. Like, I don't need to make income off of every single video. Like, you guys donate during live streams and stuff. Tyler says, what is considered grave when it comes to sin? So there's not like an official list of grave matters, but I think definitely start with the 10 Commandments and then think of anything related to that. Harrison says, I am worried about hell because I am converting from Presbyterianism. I know Catholicism is true, but I am still worried. So you should be less worried about hell if you're becoming Catholic, just because you should be a lot more certain about your salvation since you're within the one true church. And obviously, if you haven't had all your sacraments yet, but you're in the midst of converting, God will have mercy on you that you're like coming into the church. You know what I mean? Yes, Daniel says, Harrison Harley, be assured that you will not go to hell for seeking the truths of the Holy Catholic faith. May God be always with you. Can Mary be compared to the Ark of the Covenant as she had Jesus in her womb? Absolutely. We call Mary the Ark of the Covenant for that reason, and I made an entire video talking about the Immaculate Conception, in which I talked about the Ark of the Covenant in that video. So I will actually link that below as well. I mean in the chat. But it will also be linked below if you're watching this after. Sorry, guys, I'm so tired. I was like, what am I doing? Immaculate Conception. There's a song called Immaculate Conception. Shepherd. Sorry, guys, I'm getting so tired. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Okay, here's the link on the Immaculate Conception video. My video on the Immaculate Conception. She can also be compared to the burning bush. Absolutely, because she contains the uncontainable. Do you watch Taylor Marshall or Michael Matt? I watch Taylor Marshall. I've never heard of Michael Matt. I don't know who that is. I'm getting tired, you guys. I don't know if I'm going to make it through another hour. Taylor says, just out of curiosity, well, thank you for the donation. Just out of curiosity, this is a historical question. What is your view on the Crusades in the Middle Ages, just as a historical question? So obviously, some of the Crusades were absolutely evil and atrocious, like the Children's Crusade, like when the Catholics attacked the Eastern Orthodox Christians. That just like permanently created a sever between us and is part of the reason why we still haven't healed. So obviously, like a lot of the ways they were fought were absolutely evil, condemned, awful. But I think that I'm so tired, you guys. I think that some of it was for a just cause, just because when pilgrims were trying to go on their pilgrimage, they were getting attacked. And so I think that, yes, it was horrible. Yes, some of it was justified. A lot of it was evil. Some of it was justified. So if that makes sense, I'm kind of like in the middle on it. But I will say that the way the Crusades, and it's hard to say this because like there were such evil parts of it, but the way they're explained in Protestant schools are biased. are a little bit biased. So like when I went to college, my professor who taught about the Crusades had gone to Notre Dame, which is Catholic college, and he reframed the Crusades, and it really changed my opinion of it and made them seem not as bad. Obviously, so much evil. A lot of it was evil, but they're misconstrued and it's manipulated the way it's talked about in public school and in a lot of Protestant departments. Tritton says, I personally think that all the theories of atonement except penal substitution have some truth to them and are all true aspects of atonement. Yeah, I think that, I don't want to say, I still don't like penal substitutionary atonement, but I do understand where it is in scripture. Everyone's debating about whether or not people are born gay. Lizzie, can a transgender woman marry a biological male? Talk to your priest about that. That's a really good, like, talk to your priest kind of question. Tyler says, hi, I'm new to your channel. Really like your positive attitude and saw the live stream. What do you think of Walk Away or Blex? Don't want to comment on that. Okay, that's a weird comment. Okay. I'm reading through the comments right now. Taylor Marshall said, Lizzie, what is a good book on Catholicism? I would be interested in learning more about it. I recommend a book called The Light of Christ by Thomas Joseph White. The Light of Christ, Thomas Joseph White. Definitely recommend it. If you can't find it, message me on Twitter or Instagram and I'll send you the link. It is on Amazon Prime. If you have trouble finding it or getting it, I will personally mail it to you. It's Catholic dogma that there's no salvation outside the Catholic Church. So I made an entire video talking about what it means outside the Catholic Church. Technically, other Christians are considered, I just put it in the chat, I recommend stop watching this video and watch that video. So in the video, I read documents from Vatican II, which talk about how Protestants are separated brothers and sisters in Christ. So they are Christians. In that sense, they are Catholic. So when you say no salvation outside the church, they're technically a part of the church. So obviously, like, question mark, question mark, question mark. We don't know whether or not Protestants will be in heaven, but we do know that they are, in a mysterious way, they're integrated into the church. Do people have to repent for their sin if purgatory exists? So a lot of people have this idea that purgatory is a place where you can kind of choose whether or not you're going to live in a way to get to heaven, but everyone in purgatory is going to heaven. It's not like people go to purgatory and decide whether or not they want to be in heaven or want to be in hell, which is a thing. Like, it's totally your choice if you go to heaven or hell. God is not condemning someone either way. So everyone in purgatory is going to be in heaven. So do you have to try to repent? If you don't repent, you're going to hell. So it's not like purgatory is somewhere that people go and you can choose either way. Like, you're already completely saved. And, well, okay, that's, by completely saved, you're not completely saved yet because salvation is a process. So totally take back what I just said. I'm getting so tired. What I mean is that you already have the assurance of heaven, but you're in the process of being completely saved. I can't believe I said that. That was heretical. Okay. Why do Protestants not place much importance on Mary compared to Catholics? So some of the churches do, like the Anglican Episcopal Church, so not all Protestants. It's really important to know that Protestants are not monolithic. They all don't believe one thing either way. So Yeah, that's really, really important to know that not all Protestants are like that. But I really don't know why. I think it's like a sexist thing, honestly. I think it could be like some ingrained misogyny going on. If Jesus is the new Adam, who is the new Eve? Mary is the new Eve. Someone said that good. Bishop Barron is going to be on the Capturing Christianity channel in a few weeks. I know. He just made a video on the best argument against Catholics, if I'm thinking about the right channel. And I was going on the channel because someone's like, you have to watch the video, which I have not watched. I forgot to watch it. But on the channel, it said he's going to collab with Bishop Barron. And I was like, yay, I'm so excited. It'll help him become Catholic, I bet. What is your view on Martin Luther, Miss Lizzie? So Martin Luther was a heretic. He did not intend to split from the Catholic Church. He was just trying to reform it. He even told, once he realized that it was going to be a split, he told his people to not name it after him. So he literally told the Lutherans, don't name your church after me, and they did, which is hilarious. It's so ridiculous. I can't believe they did that. He fractured Christianity. He's the reason a lot of people will be in hell. He fell off a horse. He had an accident and he had a lot of brain damage from that. He also probably had genetically generalized anxiety disorder and depression. So he had some mental illness symptoms. Definitely was not bipolar, no manic activity. So horrible person for sure, but I mean, we have to have some empathy for him if he did have a lot of brain damage from falling off the horse. Raul, thank you for the donation. Please do not say ex cathedra something when it's not a papal infallibility statement has not been made about someone being born gay. Like, that's very heretical to say. Barely anything is ex cathedra. Certainly not things on social views like that. Aww. A rule says it's morning here in India. I have to make traditional dishes as today is Mother Mary's birthday. Oh, I'm so happy. Taylor Marshall says, cool, I'll check it out. Thanks. Do you like the Knights of Columbus? Yes, I think they're really cool. Deleting this comment. Alexander, your emojis are fire. I really like them. Yes, croissants. Oh, that's croissants? I thought that was shrimp. And I was like, why can't we have vegan food in the live stream chat? But I'm glad that it's just croissants because you can totally make croissants vegan. My King Jesus, how does it feel to eat the Eucharist? It feels very vulnerable. It's very intimate. It's like just a moment. My Siri went off. I don't know what made Siri think I'm talking about him. Who is my email from? Oh, from a grocery store that I'm part of. Look how cute he is. Isn't that so sweet? He was sleeping behind me. He's purring. Okay, so sweet. I just wanted to show a sweet cat. Okay. Is the story of Abraham sacrificing his son a story of Jesus on the cross? Yes, it's definitely a metaphor for that, for sure. Lizzie, are you consecrated to Mary? No, I used to talk to a priest ASAP and figure that out. Lizzie, do you like croissants? Yes, and have I made homemade croissants? I know I've made homemade bagels. I don't know if I've made homemade croissants. Can you sleep on this side of me? He like took up the whole chair and it was like difficult to sleep. I mean, difficult to sit. Croissants are fattening and hard to spell because they have so much butter in them. And even if you make them vegan butter is made out of like not coconut oil, made out of like olive oil and palm oil and stuff. Aww, he's so sweet. Okay, let's read some of these comments. I was on one of your last live streams, Gwyneth says. Oh, we were talking about how I feel when I receive the Eucharist. Sorry, my outfit completely doesn't match. I didn't plan on my pants being in the video. Who is collabing with Bishop Barron? A Protestant YouTube channel called Capturing Christianity. Sorry, I was using ex cathedra metaphorically. Maybe don't do that. Errol says good night. Good night. Do cats go to heaven? I'm going to make a YouTube video soon on whether or not cats go to heaven. I'm going to say, do pets go to heaven? It's going to be a video topic I'm going to explore. Okay. Taylor Marshall says he's never had a croissant in his life. How? Go to the grocery store and get one. Croissants or bagels? Definitely. Okay, so it's easier to find vegan bagels. So that's why I eat bagels more than croissants. But if I could have both vegan, I would definitely choose croissants. Lizzie, how often do you pray the Rosary? Lately, I've been praying it 4 to 5 times a week, but sometimes when I pray it, I just listen to the Rosary. Have you seen Friends? Yes, I've watched a lot of episodes of Friends, but I disabled my Netflix account. So I don't watch that much TV anyways, but I did have a Netflix and I was watching it with my old roommate sometimes. And so I started watching Friends. And then I got rid of my Netflix in 2019 for Lent, and I never got it again after that. And so then I reinstated my Netflix a couple months ago when I was wanting to watch the Taylor Swift documentary, and they had taken Friends out of Netflix. I was going to watch it more. So now I have no way of watching it. And I also don't have my Netflix anymore. It's pronounced croissant, not crescent. Yeah, croissant. Am I pronouncing it wrong? Rocking Horse said, Mary is a symbol of the church, so it is only natural for Protestants to attack Mary since they broke away from the church. Haha, poor Lizzie is so tired. Your grounds are the cutest, though. Why do Catholics believe Mary is the mother of God? Can you explain? So I actually got in a fight in first grade with a Catholic who, looking back, I realized that they're Catholic because she was talking about God's mom. And I was like, God does not have a mom. Like, show me in Genesis where God has a mom. And so Jesus is fully God. And as a Protestant, I didn't believe that Jesus was fully God, like, at all. I thought that Jesus was just like a divine being, which is called Arianism, a heresy called Arianism. So, yeah, I didn't believe that Jesus was God. And so it didn't make sense that, like, God the Father had a mother. Obviously, he doesn't. But if Jesus is fully God and Mary is the mother of Jesus, then Mary is the mother of God. And the reason that became a Catholic dogma and so important, also, you guys, isn't this so sweet? So sweet. The reason it's a dogma in Catholicism is to prevent heresies like Arianism that say that Jesus is not fully God. So saying Mary is the mother of God, it reinstates that Jesus is God. Mega Max said Taylor Swift no longer considers herself a Christian. Where did you read that? Yep, Raul says, is Jesus God? Is Mary Jesus' mother? If yes to both, then Mary is the mother of God. Duck says, the animals we know today probably won't live on. We cannot know for sure, though, since the Bible doesn't speak on it, but there will be animals on the new earth. Cameron says, Lizzie, I really wish I knew how to evangelize as well as you do. You have inspired me. Good night. Good night. So did Jesus not exist before Mary? Yeah, he did not exist before Mary. The Son, part of the Trinity, existed, but Jesus of Nazareth did not exist before Mary. Lizzie, do you do Taco Tuesday? Tomorrow's Tuesday. Well, I had a taco bowl today and it had like loads of vegetables. It was so good. It had like squash and zucchini and tomato and cauliflower. It was so good. It was a taco bowl. But tomorrow, oh yeah, I have tacos in the fridge. I have the Morningstar ground beef crumbles. Actually, I think I got the Beyond Meat ground beef crumbles. So I have that and taco seasoning, and I have burritos. So I mean, I have tortillas, so I can make tacos. I'm so excited. And I'll make mushrooms and tomatoes and everything with that too. Okay. Lizzie, have your parents converted yet? I know, right? Like, have they converted yet? What's taking so long? But no, they're still Protestant. Please pray for my parents to become Catholic and my friends too. I have a list of people who I want to become Catholic. Yeah, so Daniel says if you do not believe in the Holy Trinity and the divinity of Christ, you are technically not Christian. Yeah, absolutely. So technically, like, Jehovah's Witness and Mormon are not Christians for that reason, which is sad. Like, I wish we could consider them Christians, but we really can't. X Mark said, Lizzie, how can Protestants be saved when they pick and choose Jesus' teachings? Jesus made it clear that we are either for him or against him, and those who are against him scatter the flock. So as a Catholic, I believe in the teaching magisterium of the church and church councils, church documents, and those church councils and documents say that Protestants might be saved. But it's a question mark. I've never said 100% that I think my Protestant friends will be in heaven. I don't know. Love Mary says, Lizzie, listen to the rosary in the car and recite it, and you will get 5 rosaries a day done. So I really like marinating on scripture, marinating on prayer, and I know that it wouldn't be that meaningful for me if I did 5 rosaries a day. It's more meaningful and I get more out of the prayer if I do 5 a week rather than 5 a day. 5 a day? I understand 4 a day for each of the sets of mysteries, but 5 a day? Like, how do you have time to pray that much? Like, do you not have a job? I don't understand. Mormons apparently do not believe in hell. Yeah. So Mormons aren't technically Christians because they don't believe in the God that we believe in. Gwyneth, what will happen when the human race is completely extinct throughout the universe? I don't know. The Holy Trinity is not in the Bible. It's a Catholic dogma. Exactly. So when Protestants believe in the Trinity, they're taking that from a council of Catholic bishops. The same with the biblical canon. They're taking that from a council of Catholic bishops. It's interesting that in the Old Testament, some animals were considered impure and others pure. I think God created some animals to be closer to humans, and he knew that humans would end up loving these pets. So I think you're getting confused because pure means you're able to eat them, and impure means you're not allowed to eat them. So I think that if they're our friends, we should eat them? I don't know. So no. Mega Mac, how should I choose my patron saint? So there are saints for literally everything. So you can think of a struggle you have or a hobby you have, something you've gone through, and just Google the saint of. You can also, see, this is such a hard question because for me, it kind of fell into place because I was doing a lot of research, like reading into early Christians, learning about different church fathers. And the saint who really like proved that the early Christians believed Catholic things was Irenaeus. And it was just like so easy for me. Like I remember I was swimming with Trevor. We were in Nashville. We were in a pool together. And he was like, who do you think you're going to pick for your patron saint? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like maybe Irenaeus. Like it just like came into my head like so fast. So yeah, I really don't have advice, but maybe like, yeah, I have no idea what to say. Ask someone else that question. He's so sweet. Is there a saint for depression? Yes, Saint Dymphna is the saint for mental illness, especially depression. Love Mary says, how does your bipolar help your faith life? So when I am manic, I experience something called hyper-spirituality. So I was in a hypomanic episode for years of college. And when I was hypomanic, I would read my Bible for hours, pray out loud to God for hours, just be like singing worship songs, like whatever I was doing, I'd just be like singing to God. And so that intensity of the faith and like falling in love with God on such a deep emotional level, it pushed me so hard to want to study the Bible more, to want to pray more. And so having hyper spirituality like ingrained that into me, even when I'm medicated and not manic all the time. And then being in depression, it taught me that Christianity is so much more about actions than about emotions. So depression taught me that even when I don't feel anything towards God, I can still be just as close to God by having the same devotional routine and living my life in the same way. Belen says, hi from Chile. Maybe one day you could translate to Spanish your videos. Some of them are translated, but YouTube actually took away closed captioning. They're about to, so those translations will not be there anymore, which is horrible. Like, I don't understand what people are supposed to do, especially people who are deaf. That's like a huge way that they're able to watch YouTube. So it's crazy. Okay. Thank you guys for answering the question of how to pick a patron saint, because clearly I don't know how. Wait, they're removing closed captioning? Why? Well, because people are adding a lot of closed captioning that are like jokes and like mocking the creator, like fake closed captioning. And I think it's happening on like bigger creator videos. And so they're trying to like mitigate against that. But I think that's like horrible for people who can't hear. It's just so messed up. People are reacting to closed captioning. Yeah, I know, it's horrible. I have a Coptic friend who wants to see your videos but can't because there's no Arabic subtitles. Yeah, so it would be like extremely expensive to translate all my videos because I'd have to pay people per hour or per video, and think how much time that takes. Like, if it's like a 20-minute video and you have to do closed captioning, transcribe the entire video, like it sometimes takes me like 30 hours to read and research and write a video script. So like, I can't imagine how long transcribing that takes. So I would have to pay for various languages. And right now where my channel is at, I don't have that amount of money to invest in my channel. I wish I did. And if you guys want to create like a GoFundMe to translate my videos into different languages, you guys can like go do that and I will pay someone to do that. But that's not something within my YouTube capabilities right now. Maybe it will be in the future. Love Macy, how has being a vegetarian affected your faith life? So I'm actually a vegan, so that means I do not eat meat, fish, eggs, cheese, milk, yogurt, butter, dairy. So I don't eat any of that. I would say that it's helped me with, yeah, it's helped me with evangelism, because with being vegan, or maybe they both helped me with each other. So like, guys, I'm so tired. I think I'm gonna go. I can't even think of like things I'm about to say. So with being vegan, people, like some of my friends went vegan when I went vegan because they saw that like my face was so bright and I was happier and like had more energy when I was vegan. Like they literally were like, your face is brighter, you look happier, like immediately when I went vegan. And like some of my friends tried to go vegan with me, and I wasn't like, look at these documentaries of horrible animal torture. I wasn't like that. I was just kind of like sharing the beauty of the lifestyle and how it benefited me. And it's the same thing with Christianity, where you're not like, read these church father books right now, but instead you just show people through your beautiful life. And so I feel like converting someone into veganism is like a long process, and converting someone into Catholicism is a long process. And I've already seen changes in my friends and family where like several years after I've been vegan, they've become vegan, or like my sister's becoming like almost vegan as well, which she used to like. One time for Thanksgiving, like 5 years ago, I tried to use fake butter in the mashed potatoes, vegan butter, and she was like, absolutely not, we're not having that. Like, so negative towards a vegan product, and now she's basically vegan. And so literally like the lifestyle has converted my friends because of the energy it gives me and how I've shown that you can make such yummy food that is vegan. And so I've just shared it with people. And so it's the same thing with Catholicism, where you can't force it on people. You can't just like throw sources in front of them. You can't be like, you're going to hell. Like with veganism, I'm not like, you're murdering animals. And with Catholicism, I'm not like, you're going to hell if you're not Catholic. So I think, yeah, it's helped me with evangelism. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it's affected my faith. I also feel like Jains are vegan too, Jainism. Yeah, I've heard about that. Gwyneth says, is YouTube your job? Yes, YouTube is my job. Do you do other work? Yes. So I do campus ministry work for 10 hours a week. So it's not even a part-time job, but I do prayer sessions and Bible studies with schools, and their semester just started up. So we've been doing events and everything for that, which has been really fun. Belen says, thank you for your answer to my question. Daniel said, who is your confirmation saint? I would really like to know. Saint Irenaeus of Lyon, who lived in the 2nd century. He was born in the year 130. He died in the year 200. His work against heresies was written in 185. He was taught by Polycarp, who was taught by the Apostle John. So he's 2 steps away from one of the 12 apostles, so we can trust that his theology is legit. Love Mary says, Lizzie, we love you. Please be economically wise or just depend on God. LOL. What am I not being economically wise about? I know it's diabolical, but I know a lot of people who are Catholic and are participating in manifestation New Age practices because they don't know how serious and evil it is. That's cool that you love what you do / work. Lizzie. Mine is St. Dominic de Guzam. We need to pray for those people who have been deceived and are on the path to hell. Indians make actual delicious non-meat food. Yeah, it's extremely easy to eat vegan at Indian restaurants. You can get masala with chickpeas in it, and it's often vegan. Love your enemies. JC said, recently I've had thoughts about leaving the church, but I don't want to at all. Pray for me. I'm going to confession soon. So I want to share with you my Catholicism playlist. I have 100+ videos proving that the Catholic Church is the original church started by Jesus. Here, I'll send that link to you. With all of my videos, so definitely leave the live stream and watch the Catholic playlist. Okay. Do you think witches actually ride broomsticks? No. Croissants always give me indigestion. God be with you, JC. Keep praying. Okay. Quit with the witches. Yeah, can we stop talking about that? I agree. Belen says, I saw videos of you when you converted to Catholicism and you commented on how your relationship with your parents was. Today in 2020, how is your relationship with them regarding your faith? So it's hard to have a lot of conversations with them about my life because so much of my life is Catholic. There's a lot of tension sometimes, like we talk and everything. Like I'm going home for Christmas. I've been home for holidays and visited them. So we have a relationship. They started talking to me again, basically, after they stopped for a couple times. They stopped talking to me when I told them I was becoming Catholic, and then when I announced to YouTube that I was becoming Catholic. So twice they stopped talking to me. We talk now and it's great. But like the last time we were on the phone, they were like ranting about how hypocritical Catholicism is because we're against abortion and also against contraception, and like I was trying to explain to them like the Natural Cycles app for natural family planning and how that's an option to postpone pregnancy. And they're like, that doesn't work. FDA approved means nothing, like all these things. So yeah, it was just a pretty intense, it wasn't really an argument. They were just talking. They weren't really like trying to hear my perspective out, but maybe it changed their perspective. I don't know. Don't apologize for your bad English. It's so funny, Belen. Like anytime someone doesn't speak English as their first language, they're like, I'm sorry for my English. And it's often better than people who English is their first language. Elisa says, I'm gonna go pray the rosary and go to sleep. Bye. Bye. Do you do a long distance relationship? Yes, my boyfriend lives on the East Coast and I live on the West Coast. So we've been doing long distance for basically our whole relationship, and we visit each other quite a bit. So it's not like we never see each other. Like I do YouTube for work. He's a student. So we both have time to during breaks, and like I can visit whenever I want. So Caitlin says that happens so much in my family too. Yeah, it's really sad. Struggles of being a convert. Lizzie, what do you think about the passage in the Bible about Artemis? I don't know what that is. Do you want kids? How many? I want to naturally have 2 kids and adopt 2 kids. Or I feel like if I wasn't Catholic, I would want to only adopt and just like not use contraception, honestly. But I feel like most people would not be down for that. Like most people have a strong desire to have natural children. Like Trevor really wants to have natural children. And also like in Catholicism, a huge end of sex is having children. So you can't like get married and not want to have natural children. Like you have to want to have natural children. So, and obviously I want to now because I'm Catholic, but I definitely have a strong desire to adopt. So I don't really know what we'll do if we like will adopt right away or have natural children right away. It'll probably depend on like my bipolar and how it is. And like I think I want to talk to a social worker and ask what would be best when you're bringing in like, I don't know if it would be best to adopt first to make sure they know that like you are so wanted in this family. It's not because like we couldn't get pregnant, but it's because like I want you to be part of the family. Like I want the adopted children to know that they're not like an afterthought as like an addition to the family, but are integral to the family. So that's why I almost want to adopt first, just so that they know that like they're so wanted and needed in the family. But then also I wonder if it would be like powerful for the other children to see the beauty of adoption as kind of an overflow of God choosing us and adopting us into the Christian family. So yeah, I would basically talk to a social worker and be like, what with sibling dynamics works the best if you're planning to adopt and to have children. So I think everyone should adopt as well because there are so many children in the foster care system. And so many people say when they're like, want abortion to be legal, that so many children end up in the foster care system and not taken care of. So anytime I'm discussing abortion with someone and they say that, I'll be like, I personally have adopted 2 children. So I'm helping the problem, and not the problem, but I'm helping those children have a home basically. So Taylor Marshall says, thanks for the stream. Lizzie was a positive end to my day. Aw, going to check out that book. Night. Good night. Johan, only a Muslim would respond like you did. Think. I shouldn't be saying this. This is slander and gossip. Okay, interesting. Okay. You have to be open to having natural children. Absolutely. You have to be open to life, open to having natural children. Okay, guys, I'll show you real quick. Do you guys see how this is an extra toe? So on both sides, he has an extra toe. So that's why she named him Frodo, because he has an extra toe. Yeah, I know. He's really, really sweet. Such a sweet kitten. Okay, guys. All religions are not going to heaven, you guys. So, I'm so tired. We have been streaming. We have been streaming for an hour and 45 minutes. Thank you, everyone who's here and hanging out. Make sure to like the video, thumbs up the video. It helps my place in the YouTube algorithm. I love you guys a lot. I'm going to go take my medicine, take off my makeup, and take this little dude to bed. He's so sweet. I love you guys a lot. My next YouTube video is going up tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's about 13 Bible verses that all Catholics should have memorized. Oh, thank you for the seashells, Alexandra, to match the beach theme of the room. Didn't she do such a good job painting the room? If you guys could see the rest of the room, it's so cute as well. So I love a lot what she did. Anyways, good night. I love you guys a lot. I'm so tired I can barely think. I think the next time I live stream, I'm going to do it like an hour earlier just because my best friend works in the morning and she likes to get work done earlier. So she goes to bed at like 9 p.m. every night. And I've been going to bed at 9 as well. So when I start the stream at 9, it's like super late. And I know you guys, like more people show up to the live streams when it's later, but I think I'm just gonna have to deal with that and be streaming earlier because when I'm on the East Coast versus the West Coast, it's like completely different. Anyways, I love you guys a lot. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the premiere of my new video. Do you guys want to say bye to Frodo? He's sleeping. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!